Okay, welcome, Carl Albert, American Federal Government students, the 8-week version, the 8-week course. So the course starts, I think, March 13th. Today's date's March 8th. I'm recording this, getting ready for your class. And the purpose of this video is to welcome you to class virtually, because we will not meet in person, of course, and to give you the nuts and bolts of the class, what to expect, and then to tell you why American federal government is so important. So first of all, welcome. Feel free to email me anytime you have any questions, tbrennan@carlalbert.edu. As far as myself, let me introduce myself. My name is Mr. Brennan, and I have been an adjunct at Carl Albert since my wife was pregnant with our first child. And she next month will turn 22 years old. So I've been teaching adjunct Carl Albert for a long time. I've taught 27 years. My full-time job is I teach history at Podo High School and social studies. I teach AP classes, including AP Euro, AP US History, AP Human Geography, AP Government. At one time or another, I've taught those and the other classes too. So I enjoy it. I've done it for 27 years, so obviously I must enjoy it, or I'm a glutton for punishment. But I do enjoy it. And I have, my wife and I have 3 kids. They're all grown. My youngest kid is a freshman at Carl Albert and part of the Scholars Program, so I'm proud of him. And so he's there with you guys in person, and I think he has a virtual class or 2. So that's me. I love to travel. I travel all the time. And in fact, spring break, I'm going to Vienna, Austria, because I love to travel and learn history and new cultures, and anytime I can get away, I will. So when you're watching this message, I might be there. Hopefully I'm there. As for this class, let's go through the nuts and bolts. I'm going to keep things as simple as possible. Simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. Simple means not complicated, because I do not want confusion. So here's how the class is set up. We have, I think, 15 chapters to go through. I'm trying to remember. First thing you need to do is print up the syllabus. It's got a schedule. And in fact, I've taped the schedule right here on my desk so I can keep track of things. And I hope that you will print that up and look at it as well. Since this is an 8-week condensed course, we're going to do 2 chapters every week. So that's what you signed up for. When you signed up for an 8-week course, we have to double the amount of work. It's going to be real simple. March 24th, you have 2 chapters due, chapter 1 and 2. The next week, chapter 3 and 4, that's March 31st. The next week, April 7th, chapter 5 and 6. You see the pattern. We just go right through the textbook. What does it mean that that's what you have due? What does it mean that you have to do that week? Well, every week is predictable and every week is the same thing. So each week you're going to take 2 reading quizzes for those chapters. There's a chapter 1 reading quiz and there's a chapter 2 reading quiz. These are to hold you accountable to make sure you're reading the material. You can use your textbook on those. It's an open book because I can't control that. So I know it's an open book. That means they only have 1 hour though. And you won't be able to look them all up in an hour. So you better read the chapter ahead of time and then look up the ones that you're unsure about. And that holds you accountable because reading the textbook is so important. The second thing you have to do each week is an essay that you will post on the discussion board. And I will have a prompt in there on the discussion board. And you need, sometimes it's you watch a documentary and you write a reflective essay. Sometimes it's a prompt. It's different each week, but each week you have a writing assignment. And you post it to the discussion board. You cannot look at other people's posts until you've posted your own, because in the past I had people that would just copy. So once you've posted your own, you can look at others. You do not have to respond to those, but I encourage it, and I definitely want you to look at your classmates and see what they wrote and how it compares to yours. And you know what? That is it. That's what we do each week. Predictable, but not necessarily, and simple, but not necessarily easy. just not complicated. You do 2 chapter quizzes, and then you do the prompt. And as far as your grade, the 2 chapter quizzes are each worth 25 points. That's 50 points. This is all in the syllabus. And then the writing prompt is worth 50 points. And so that all adds up after 15 weeks to, I think, 800 points. It's in the syllabus. And that's how you determine what your grade is, based on whether you have 90% of those points or 80% of those points, being an A and a B and so on. And that's it. I try in the discussion post to have interesting documentaries, interesting things to discuss. I try to break it down, and I'm like, what's the most important thing I want students to take away from this chapter? And then I focus in on that, because we can't have class discussion like in a traditional class. So that's how I set it up. There is no inquisitive, none of that stuff. I don't like that stuff. I would rather have my own assignments that make you think and are not just looking things up. And so that's why I don't have that. So you do not have to do that. And if you email me and ask me if you have to do that, I know you didn't watch this video, at least all the way through. So the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, all right, KISS. And that's what I hope to do. Well, finally, with just a few minutes left, because I'll have these introductory these introductory videos each week for you to watch before you read the chapter. And I always try to keep them to 10 minutes because that's gonna keep you pretty busy right there doing all of that, I promise that. So, but I have an introductory video, and this is the introductory video to the class. Why American federal government? This is the most important class on campus, and I mean it, because if we don't teach American federal government, our system under this document, the Constitution, fails. It requires that we educate the next generation that they're part of the educated electorate so that they know how the system works and so they can get important information to fulfill their civic duty of participating in our government and voting, because the first 3 words of this are "we the people." Unfortunately, in recent times, it's been painfully obvious that we have not been teaching that. And I think most significantly of January 6, 2021, when people stormed the Capitol on the false premise that the election was stolen. And violently, 5 people were killed that day. That tells me, first of all, people are getting false information, wrong information, and they don't know how to discern it, and they're willing to engage in violence in a system that's lasted 230 years. So it's so important because we've not had times like this before. So I look at my job more important than ever. If we are going to sustain this system, we've got to do better. So it is the most important class on campus, because if we don't teach it right, our whole government could fail. And that's not hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. That is the truth, and it's very obvious in recent times. So I hope the class is interesting. Thank you for joining us. Email me if you have questions, and enjoy the ride. Thanks.